Okay, today I'm in London with James Moore, Principal Betting Investigator of the BHA. Thanks very much for agreeing to talk to us today, James.
No problem.
Can you just give us a brief description of what your job actually entails, please?
Basically, if we have specific betting concerns, I have to analyse the accounts that are provided to us, generally anonymously at first, and work out if we need more information. I work with the investigating officers that we have when we go and interview people in regards to suspicious betting. I also help out with the race monitoring and betting monitoring with the team that we have based out of High Holborn.
Okay, now you told me a little bit about your past. You've sort of come from the bookmaking side of the fence and then the punting side of the fence.
Yeah.
So give us you started off in betting shops, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I was a punter since an early age. Racing, greyhound racing, horse racing were always my sort of interests and passions. Went to work for Ladbrokes in the mid-90s for a couple of years with a view to becoming an odds compiler. Everyone told me I was mad because betting shop managers from Glasgow didn't become odds compilers. And then 2 years later, Ladbrokes started with Ladbrokes Sport and Spreads. I came down to London, started on the Monday after Frankie's Magnificent Seven. Ladbrokes Sport and Spreads for 2 years, trading dogs and horses. Then IG Index bought over Ladbrokes Sport and Spreads, and I had 7 years at IG Index.
Now there's some notable punting characters at IG Index.
Yeah, no, IG was great. I mean, Channing used to sit next to me, and we had Ernie Burns was head of racing, and a lot of the William Hill boys arrived a year or two later too, that a lot of people out there will probably know many of them. So yeah, no, it was an interesting place to work, that's for sure.
Any good Channing stories for us?
Oh God, too many to mention. No, Neil's as everyone knows from Neil's exposure on TV, right? You know, Neil's boundless enthusiasm for punting and horse racing, and yeah, no, it was always good fun. There was loads of characters in there, you know, and everyone was a punter, and yeah, no, it was all good fun.
And then you went 10 years as a pro punter.
Yeah, from 2005 until I started here in early 2016. Yeah, but 99% horse racing.
So first of all, what made you go from gamekeeper to poacher?
God, that's an analogy that people use, and I understand why, but I always feel it makes it sound like with poacher I was involved in what was up to no good, and I was just a punter. I was a form book punter. At the time, I had some personal issues at the time. My partner at the time had cancer, so I had to take some time off, which turned into an extended sabbatical, which turned into me just going full time. So yeah, 10 years full time.
So what was your edge pro punting?
I was just I was a form judge, simple as that. I like to think I was a half decent one. Spoke to the odd person that got the odd mark for this horse or that horse. I wasn't really a layer. I'd lay a few, and then every now and again I'd lay something at threes that went off nines and one, and I'd decide that betting the big odds on wasn't for me, you know. But no, I wasn't the biggest professional punter in the world either. You know, it'd be hundreds or low thousands I'd have been playing in. Just when I tried to get the staking right, which was always, as every punter knows, is always the trouble. I'd have lots of bets and just try and get a percentage out of that. You know, turn over as much as you can and try and keep the percentage up.
So why did you stop that to do this?
It's a bizarre story. I was sitting at home one Saturday afternoon, flicking through Twitter, done my prep for the Saturday racing, and I looked through Twitter, and there was a tweet from Nick Luck. It was a retweet of a Careers for Racing job spec. Opened it up, had a look, Principal Betting Investigator at the BHA, read through the spec, and thought, oh, it's a terrible shame that, you know, the BHA being so nepotistic, and you know, they'll give it to someone's probably been pre-selected for that. It'll be somebody's son that gets the job, when really it should be me or someone like me that should be doing that job. I went back about 3 hours later, a gap in the racing, had another look at it and thought, such a terrible shame that we all know about the BHA. The BHA would never give it to someone like me with my background. And another 3 hours later I went back and looked at it, and it was an online application, and I had an old CV lying around that just had to be updated for another couple of years of professional punting. I'd been offered a job in Hong Kong years before, and I'd knocked up this sort of one-page CV and decided to put an application in. Sent it off and then thought, well, that was probably a waste of half an hour of my life, and got a phone call about 2 weeks later asking me if I was interested. At the time when I sent it in, I wasn't particularly looking for a job. I mean, obviously, as the years have gone on, it's harder to get on and harder to make the amounts of money that used to be able to be made, but I was still getting a wage out of it. When I got the phone call asking me was I actually interested and would I come for an interview, it made me properly think, would I like to do it? After best part of 30 years of punting practically non-stop, a change, but staying within the industry seemed like a nice idea. So came in, got interviewed by some of the guys that I work with, realised that my preconceptions about the BHA probably weren't right. Came back, had another meeting with, it was Adam Brickell, who was the director at the time, the good chat to Adam about where the institution wanted to go and how they wanted to do it, and it seemed they thought that I had something to offer in that respect, and yeah, just decided a career change, but staying within the industry that I'd been working in for 25 years by that point sounded good. So I came along, gave it a try, wasn't sure if I would like it, wasn't exactly sure what would be involved, but pretty soon I realised that I was reasonably well suited to it, and it's a good place to work.
Okay, so you've been here for 3 years now.
Yeah.
How big is your team?
The race monitoring team, we've got investigating officers and stable investigators and stuff out in the field, but the actual race monitoring team is there's 6 or 7 of us who are involved in that. The idea being that we have full coverage pretty much every meeting, every day. We've got 2 full-time racing and betting monitors. We've got another 5 people who sort of dip in and out as required, but every meeting, every day is covered by someone.
Okay, so would you be following up on complaints from the members of the public, or would you generally be spotting your own? How does it work?
It's a bit of everything. Basically, anyone that comes forward, I mean, I've got people come forward on Twitter and message me about things that they don't like the look of. We've got the race straight line that people can make anonymous reports or can leave their details if they want. We will be watching every race every day. We've got direct communication with the stewards every day. We're monitoring the markets, not just the fixed odds shows, but we've got a live platform that we can see basically every bet with a unit stake of £100 or more on Betfair. We have an equivalent for BetDAC, and we have communication regularly with exchanges and fixed odds bookmakers. Basically anyone that's got a concern, there's a route to come to us. They either can email integrity at British Horse Racing, they can use the race straight line, they can come directly to us. There's no reason for anyone to have a concern and not think that it can be attended to.
I think the general consensus of opinion is that the betting exchanges have facilitated a lot more for any...
Obviously, I mean, in days of yore, if you knew a horse wasn't busy, you had to go and find yourself a friendly bookmaker and say, take a few quid out of this for me. Obviously now there's a facility that if people have got that sort of information, they can just go and do it themselves. Back in the mid-2000s, it was rife. There was no great audit trail there. There was lots of cases happened at that time that I'm sure of great concern to everyone. It's different now. The exchanges are more sophisticated, we're more sophisticated. Tracking of where bets come from and who's placed them, it's so much more advanced now that people still do it. I'm not claiming for a second that we catch everyone that's laid something they've been told wasn't busy on that day, but if people are going to try and organise to take money by nefarious means, there's ways and means for us to catch them, and I think we're relatively good at following them up.
Yeah, I was going to say, do the exchanges cooperate with you?
Exchanges are fantastic. All of the exchanges, we have a good relationship. Obviously Betfair was first and biggest, and probably in terms of integrity they've had the longest run at it, but everyone's good. Even the new starts, we've got a good relationship and they're putting systems in place and coming to us with concerns. It's in everyone's best interest. People think that because exchanges make money from commission, that they wouldn't want to find who's cheating. It's not in their interest to stop someone betting if they're making commission from them. It totally misses the point, and it certainly misses the way that the exchanges operate. They understand that their business model is based, like everyone else, it's based around people having confidence in the integrity of the markets. I mean, if you take Betfair, for example, their integrity team are totally removed from the commercial side of the business. They are doing the same as us. They're trying to identify problems, they're trying to identify worries. They're not there to protect people because, you know, an account manager is making money from this person. Absolutely not. I was actually, one of the things that when I took the job on, I was quite surprised about. I actually thought, why would the exchanges give people up? Why would they come to the BHA with concerns when they're making money out of it? But the integrity functions at these companies are totally removed from the commercial functions, which is ideal.
Now, we'll talk about the all-weather later on, but one of the things that's levelled by some people is that if a trainer lands a gamble at Royal Ascot in a handicap with a horse with 3 duck eggs, he's very shrewd and it was a magnificent training performance. If a trainer does it at Wolverhampton in the 9:15 on a Saturday night, he's a crook. Now, are there untouchable people? Obviously not going to be untouchable. Are there people, is there a hierarchy of some?
Absolutely not. I've had people say this to me before. Oh yeah, but we all know what so-and-so gets up to and so-and-so gets up to, and they're untouchable and you're not allowed to go. The idea that I would find someone up to no good and someone would have a word in my ear and tell me not to pursue it is, well, it's insulting. And secondly, it would result in me handing my notice in. You know, we're a dedicated little team. Obviously, we'd love more resource and all the rest of it, but we're getting there. You know, with the executive we have now. You know, in the 3 years I've been here, the team's effectively doubled, and we're getting better organised. And those in positions of power understand, you know, that integrity has to go hand in hand with all the other aspects of running horse racing, and they're as committed to it as we are. So there's no such thing as someone who's untouchable. There's no one we don't look at. Obviously, if you're going to pursue someone, or if you have suspicions about someone, you need evidence to go and do it. But there's no question that anyone is off limits. Absolutely not.
And there's a very fine line between, you know, the getting one ready for a race to its peak fitness and...
As long as the horse has been run on its merits in its previous races. Now, if you get one ready for a big handicap in the spring, over hurdles, that's going to be run on good ground, and you give him 3 prep races around Christmas time when the going's heavy, and he doesn't perform to his best, well, it's in the form book. Punters should be able to spot that he's a good ground horse. The only option that the connections have then is either leave him in his box, which doesn't do him any good, or run him on the wrong ground. It's up to punters. It'll be in the price. Everyone will know that. It's up to punters to decide when the right day is. It's half of the game is working out. As long as that horse ran that day to the best of his merits and was presented with a timely challenge, if at all possible, then how can you criticise connections for running a horse, you know, if it needs to run? If they want, the whole idea is to race horses, not just to produce them on the one specific day when everything's in place for them. Horses have to pay for themselves. You know, they have to pick up prize money. Connections have to be able to have a few quid on if they feel the time's right. But as long as it's not involved in a campaign where the horse hasn't run on its merits, there have been questions asked.